Good morning, Danny. You're on the air.
Good morning, Patty. How are you?
I'm doing fine this morning. How about you?
Oh, not so bad. I got back from Labrador there, was down to the combined councils, brought back a little cold, but that's getting through, going its course there right now.
Well, listen, get well soon. Everywhere I turn, people have a little cold here, and of course that leads to the whole sick note conversation. You and I are not going to talk about that.
No.
But, what else do you want to talk about this morning?
No, I wanted to talk about the thing I've been, I guess, following up on for a number of days, if not a couple of weeks now, who's going to be paying for the third line from Labrador to Churchill Falls. And this was certainly a hot topic of the combined councils, so it should be, especially for the people in Labrador City, Wabush, and Happy Valley Goose Bay. And, one of the things that has happened since then is that Alderon has come out and indicated that they have reached a power purchase agreement with Nalcor, Newfoundland Hydro, and that they're going to be paying $65 million. Now, my understanding, and I stand to be corrected, but the government and Alderon have been giving the impression to the people of the province that Alderon was going to be making a one-time contribution towards the capital cost of this line of some $65 million.
Yeah.
But my reading of the press release is that that's absolutely false. That not 1 cent of that $65 million is going to be applied to the capital cost of this line. And so basically what they are doing, from my reading of the press release, is that they're doing like any other commercial business would be expected to do. And they are providing a security deposit for the hydro that they're going to be using in the foreseeable future. And they're paying $21 million now, but putting it on deposit. And 2 months after they are into production, they would put up the other deposit. But not 1 cent of that is being directly applied to the capital cost of the line.
Well, even if it is, the fact is, once power starts to flow, we begin to repay the $65 million. So how we use the deposit is almost irrelevant. I suppose there can indeed be some potential interest savings and all that, but negligible. How I read it, Danny, is at the beginning they put up that couple of million, or maybe it was $4.4 million to start the process of analysing the needs in Lab West. Fine. Now, the $65 million contribution, as soon as the power starts to flow, we start to repay it. So you're right. They're not chipping in on a shared capital cost project. They are putting forward monies that we will be repaid, so it's not chipping in at all. Whether that comes in covering power or taking away some of their royalty payment requirements, whatever it is, they're loaning the 65 and we're giving it back.
Yeah, but that is absolutely different than what they led the public to believe, both Alderon and the government. They led the people to believe that there would be a $65 million contribution to the bottom line of the capital cost of this project, which probably going to end up being around $350 to $400 million with the escalation and interest during construction. So we're back to number one. And at the combined councils meeting on last weekend, Minister Nick McGrath, when answering a question from one of the mayors, said that they would not be dictating to the Public Utilities Board, and they would be referring this to the Public Utilities Board to be recovered from the users. So I don't know why they're continuing to mislead people to try to tell them that something is going to happen when it is not, similar to what they just said about the contribution to capital cost, because there's absolutely no doubt that this current system before the Public Utilities Board leaves the Public Utilities Board no other option but to recover 100% of that cost off the ratepayers of the Labrador interconnected grid.
No, but we don't know that yet either, do we? The cost, it has not been spelled out how we're going to recover the cost. It has not been spelled out what the PPA includes with Nalcor Power and Alderon. So we don't really know any of those things yet.
Well, I think we do know. I mean, this is the point that I'm trying to make. I believe the government knows full well. They know 100% because they know right now, for example, Patty, that there is an application before the Public Utilities Board now to recover $39 million of upgrades on the same line, and that is being borne 100% by the users of the Labrador Interconnected System to a tune of a 25% increase in everybody's rates. And so the precedent is already established, and the result has already been concluded on that application as it was in a previous application a couple of years ago. I mean, the only thing the Public Utilities Board can do is they can decide to phase it in as opposed to a one-time charge. And that is the same case as is going to apply to $300 million plus if the government doesn't give any specific new direction to the Public Utilities Board. So, you know, why don't the government come clean with the people? There's a lot of hardship right now being going on with the tremendous loss of jobs in Labrador West. There's a lot of people uncertain about their futures, and they know full well with a 25% increase coming down on them this year, and this going to with recovering $39 million. If we got to recover $350 to $400 million, it's going to take another 150 or 200% increase in their rates. It's intolerable, and there's no reason. If the government has no intention of seeing that happen, then they have every opportunity to give the direction to the PUB to allow those fares and put everything at rest.
Yeah, well, you're making some connections there that I think are kind of loose. The 25% increase, and somehow that is the LabWest transmission line issue. Put it this way, Danny.
No, let's follow that one. What are you saying is wrong with that?
Just hold on. I'll try and make my own dots here. We'll connect them here at the summary of the conversation. If the people of Western Labrador want to be the first beneficiaries of the projects, want to be the first in the queue to get the jobs are going to be created in LabWest at the Alderon mine. Why wouldn't the people of Western Labrador have to pay the full rate themselves anyway? If you want to be the beneficiary, why shouldn't you pay the toll?
Well, then, that would be fine if the people were the beneficiaries of 100% of the revenue that's being generated there.
But why should they be that, though, either, Danny? That makes no sense to me.
Of course it does.
Why should they get the 100% of the revenue, the members of the province? Well, we are sharing the revenue of all the other natural resource wealth. Why would it be any different in Labrador?
Well, I'm telling you this, that there's no way that the users, 4,000 or 5,000 users of hydroelectricity in Labrador West can accommodate 150, 200% increase in their rates. I mean, there's no reason for them to stay there. The rates would be a couple of $1,000 a month. I mean, this is just outrageous, and there's no way that it should be, because, as I said, the principle is that if you're going to be getting 100% of the cost, well, then allocate 100% of the revenue. But here we have 98% of the people of the province enjoying 100% of the revenue, which is in the hundreds of millions and billions over the last number of years. Everybody else is getting the benefit of those dollars.
Well, Labrador's not.
100% of the cost is being borne by 4,000 or 5,000 people in Labrador West and Abbey Valley Goose Bay. That's intolerable, and it's not fair. There's a fundamental principle of fairness there. And that's what I'm trying to get at, and this is what is missing. And certainly I've lived in Labrador. I was there in the IOC when we had the downturn before. There's never been nothing but insensitivity towards the people of Labrador West and Labrador in general, and these are the instances where it's borne out in spades.
Danny, do you think that whole conversation of the Townie versus Bayman, Island versus Labrador, do you think it's as bad as people put it out? I think that it's an exaggerated issue, and I'm not even sure. Put it this way, if people say Newfoundland and don't see Newfoundland and Labrador, and that draws the ire of people in Labrador, do you think we are perpetuating and exaggerating this rift where some exist, but we make it worse on purpose, looking for some sort of hope for equity for people in Labrador?
Well, I mean, I have no major quarrels about somebody missing whether they say Newfoundland or Labrador. But I have felt and I see that not the words but the deeds. And this is what is galling people, is when you have billions of dollars taken out of a specific region, and then you have inferior services whether it comes to the roads or air transportation or medical facilities and all of those things that on the island right now are certainly at a higher standard than in Labrador. That's when people have the basis for their feelings of not being respected and certainly not getting a fair return on what they contribute. Nobody in Labrador begrudges contributing to the better standard of living for all.
Sure.
But here you have a primary example of where the rates are going to have to go up 200 or 300, 150, 200% to recover this cost, but 98% of the benefit of the revenue is being shared by somebody who takes no part of the cost. So that's not fair.
I'd like to know, we really need to understand the recovery of the cost, how exactly the contribution works out for Alderon, what the rate is enjoyed in their PPA, all those things. Why not? It's public business, and we should understand, and I won't disagree with you on that front whatsoever, Danny. Always glad to have you on the show. They're flagging me off to the break, but you stay in touch at your convenience.
Yes, appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
And this is not behind Danny's back, because Danny listens, and I say all these things to his face when we see each other socially, and certainly here on the radio. And I like Danny Dumaresque personally. Just the whole rift between the island and the big land. The downside of the self-governance conversation gets very little play. People see the wealth coming from the natural resources in Labrador, and understandably they want more of it. Okay. The whole thing about the Newfoundland and Labrador, I try and say it all the time, because you know what? It's actually the name of the province. So that's why I try and do it. But I do think, and folks of Labrador, this is absolutely aimed at you, and I would like to hear a reply. So if someone doesn't say, like Bill Barry, he apparently doesn't care about Labrador because he didn't say Newfoundland and Labrador. I find that to be so foolish. I mean, give me a break. Do you think people down here, even us East End saucy cracky townies, are not concerned and understand some of the issues that are stemming from Labrador? Of course we do. What are we talking about here? And then there's the reference of the full name of the province. If Mark Nichols, Olympic gold medalist, or Joey Russell, national junior figure skating champion, or Mike Adams, who was on the top curling squad, if they're saying Mark Nichols from Labrador, nobody on the island bats an eye. But yet that's been the rally cry for why you think people don't care about Labrador? Come on. And on the second note, you talk about the self-governance issue and the other side of the coin. What happens when the mines shut down? What happens when there's a downturn in the global commodities that are ore and other minerals coming from Labrador? What happens then? And when the funding that goes towards Labrador, should there not be some consideration of the population? I'm just asking a question. Seriously. And to insinuate endlessly that there's some betrayal of Labrador because of the condition of some things, and to pretend that it's all hunky-dory in every nook and cranny on the island, is simply not true. It's simply not true. You ask people in some of the remote areas in Newfoundland on the island, that's right, the island of Newfoundland, and they will tell you their services are not up to snuff. They do not have the investment in their region that they deserve. Not because the ore comes out of their backyard or the oil is, there's the Henry Goodrich is within eyesight of St. Mary's Bay. I don't know why that matters. If we're all one province, then where's the fairness and the equity in the conversation where you think that everyone in Labrador should benefit before everyone else in the province because the ore is there? What? That's the reason? So should the closest municipalities to the offshore oil fields be the first beneficiary because of the line of sight? Or the proximity to? Now, adjacency should matter when it comes to the opportunities for employment and whatnot, Muskrat Falls and in the mines and otherwise, sure. But you pay 100% of the line, so you get 100% of the royalties from the mines. What? What does that mean? So you kick in $300 million and you get the billions. Christ almighty, sign me up for that return on investment. If you want to talk about it from Labrador or anywhere else on the island, if you're agreement, fine. If you're not,